Where bears in the woods are chased by Grecian fauna and bald eagles. TV is mechanized politics, remote control over the masses. Co-sponsored by environmentally safe gases. Watch for the PBS special. It's a perpetuation of the two-party system.
That'll do, you wrong'uns. Just getting into the zone, feeding the zone, shagging the zone, getting into the zone. What was that? That was the Disposable Heroes of Hypocrisy. And it's the Disposable Heroes of Hypocrisy. One of my favorite songs is called Television, the Drug of a Nation. And it just kind of, I did think about doing Bat Out of Hell, the piano intro from the album. I did think about starting a little earlier, you'll notice. And I just thought that I would kind of listen to that. And it's a fabulous song. It's a wonderful song. It's so far ahead of its time. It's 6 minutes, in my view, of perfection. And we are going to talk about One Nation Under Blackmail. We're going to start with that. Are we early? Oh, yes, we are. So those that weren't here at the body of the Kirk at 8 o'clock, ya wrong'uns, ya missed it. I am going to start differently. I'm not going to take any comments for the moment at the beginning because I do feel that we have to, in my view, we just have to get in there and we have to sort some shit out because there's a lot of stuff to sort out in this life, and we've got these Muppets in the Pink Palace shagging each other and basically breeding ignorance and feeding radiation on television. The Disposable Heroes of Hypocrisy. Tonight, I have no idea what I'm going to talk about. Literally, I have no idea. Simply because, those that have lost anyone that they love will know what I'm talking about eventually. But as a little aside, I'm going to pop into an Apple shop to deal with this bullshit reversing mirror bollocks with YouTube. Technical term that we use in radio, especially when I've got it in me tonight. Some people might say, oh, is he going to rant again this evening? I never rant. I'm always in control, Your Honour. But there's stuff that I do want to talk to you tonight. I don't want this to be Ranty Rev. I don't want this to be just you and your kind of comments. I want you to let's have an adult conversation around stuff tonight because the world is in a state. The world is in a panshite. We have this filth at the top of the pile, the top of the food chain. He stands there at PMQs every Wednesday talking utter bollocks. As does Kemi, not good enough. She's shot. She's done. She's finished. Fuck off, Kemi. We've had enough, mate. And, that shirt-lifting deviant, which one am I talking about? I'm not going to identify them. They can fuck off as well. So everyone that's in the body of the Kirk so far, welcome, welcome, welcome. Make sure you have your supplies because seemingly, unless I lock some kind of lockup here, we're all going to die within 3 days because, we're being told by another shirt lifter that, you've got to get stores in for 3 days. Well, you can hide away and shite, mate, because we know who you are. You're the globalist fuckwits. So, no, we're not playing that game. What? Look, they're trying to lock us down 5 years ago and everybody just went out and bought bog roll. So we'll touch on that, an adult conversation. We'll touch on other stuff. There's no way of actually addressing. I'm sick and tired of all this false bonhomie. Oh, it's Christmas. Merry Christmas. Fuck off. Oh, I say, it's Easter. Not in this country, it's not. It's fucking Muslim. It's not. We're not a Christian country anymore. Have a word with the chief paedophile in Rome, the deviant. Yeah, he's 88. Is it Memorex or is he recorded? Is he alive or is he dead? Well, Jim Bowen's gone. So, fuck me. I do hope that you're kind of getting the grift. You're understanding the grift from all these idiots. Those that go, give me your money, give me your money, just £1, give me your money, give me your money. And then when he comes out in June, he won't answer the questions. He won't. He will just go his own way and go, give me some money, give me some money. The buckets will be out on stage again. Oh, you weren't there. You didn't know. Thought as much. And this, we have, it's the globalist agenda. It's George Soros. It's WEF. It's the Bilderberg. It's the Council of 300. It's all of these faceless organisations that you've got no clue about. You think that you wake up and it's sunny and all of a sudden God's gone, no, you can't have any sun today. It's Sunday. It may be Mothering Sunday, but you can't have any bloody sun. And then miraculously, they don't cloud seed the blueness. And we have some sunshine, which is most odd, if you ask me. So everyone that's regular, welcome. That's once a month, every 4 weeks. Thank you to everyone for their continued support of the channel. I do appreciate you being here for the lives, because there's a lot of people will catch up, life, work. We have some regulars that a bit like Retro is away at sea sometimes, and other people are at work sometimes. And like today, you may have some family commitments, and I fully get that, and I appreciate that, and I appreciate the fact that you are willing to listen to my rantings maybe a day or two afterwards. So tonight we're going to talk about the adult subject of stabbings. We're going to talk about knife crime. We're going to talk about this pathetic, inept, corrupt government. Oh, what makes you say that, Adrian? Well, freebies for a kick-off. If you're accepting a freebie from anybody in any way, shape or form, then you're in their hands. There's no such thing as a free lunch or a free concert ticket or a free suit or a free pair of glasses. There's not. We're going to talk about the corrupt music industry. Let me just make this note, because I was going to do that and I didn't. I think we're gonna balance things out tonight with some serious stuff and some light stuff. But the serious stuff is going to be really serious, really. I'm not fucking about tonight, and I don't care about the potty mouth. If you don't like it, fuck off. If you don't like what I do and what I say, Foxtrot Oscar, because there's things buried in these lives that you will go back 6 months. I was telling you about Netanyahu and how evil he was over a year ago. Some people were saying to me, you can't say that, Adrian. You can't say that because people get hold of the wrong end of the stick. The Israelis didn't. They got it. And we're going to talk about RFK and the Israelis blackmailing him. Oh, why are they doing that? Well, I'm going to tell you. The truth is unpalatable to some people, but I'm giving it to you between the eyes tonight. I'm not mucking about. So all these lives are here as an historical document so that you can go back through them and watch them again if you wish, because there's stuff buried in there that I know you didn't cotton on to, but you might do in 6 months or a year. Well, you think the next 4 years is going to be easy? Hardaway and shite, man. Me potty mouth will calm down eventually. So we're going to do, and the reason why we need to talk about stabbings is because these politicians have no clue. I mean, one of them's actually gone, excuse me, can I have 900 quid for me pet expenses? What the actual are they feeding it? Gold-covered bones. And I don't know whether you have heard of a man who was ahead of the game by at least 20 years, Dr. Vernon Coleman. And I was doing, I'm sure it was Vernon Coleman that did Raw Meaty Bones. I've got a book in my archive somewhere. Why are we feeding dogs this tinned shite? Don't know. Have you got a pet? Cats don't have owners, they have servants. Dogs are just mad, unless they start chewing your face off, of course. But we have front page of the Super Soaraway Stun today. £900 expenses for me dog. So forgive me. I mean, I literally don't know where this live's going to go tonight. It may be a stream of consciousness, but it'll be a stream of consciousness that's going to give you an insight into these global fuckwits that are ruining your life. These politicians, these career politicians, these corrupt career politicians who are ruining your life. Oh, and what they won't do and what they will do, I wish they would take notice that the people of this country want certain things that they're not providing, like a prime minister that won't acknowledge that it's Mother's Day today, Mothering Sunday. But it's the last day of Ramadan. Oh, you can bet your sweet bippy that that fucking idiot has gone, hello, any Muslims in this country? Right, hope you enjoyed Ramadan. I bet he didn't fast with them. No, he didn't. And how does he get past the wife, the Jew wife, the woman that is Judaism, liberal Judaism, however you want to term it? How does he square that with his missus? Don't worry, I'm going to go and see Lord Ali tonight. It's the end of Ramadan. Yeah. We'll break a fast. What with? Sausage roll. Kia? I mean, they think we're fucking thick. So, firstly, thank you to all the legendary Battenbergers. I think there's a couple got in there early doors tonight for fear of a rant. You'll definitely get that. But thank you to all the legendary Battenbergers. As I say every time on the live, I really am thankful for your support. Wow, hang on, I'll get to Leeds in a second. I did say I wasn't going to comment on the comments, but I want to acknowledge Leeds, who hasn't been on for a while. Next live, Wednesday. I wasn't actually going to do a live tonight. I didn't feel that I could give you any value or any insight, and because the subject that we're going to get into in a moment, I just didn't feel that I would give you any value. But as it turns out, I don't give a flying fuck. I literally don't care. What are they going to do? Cancel the channel? I'll go to X. In fact, it's possibly X and Insta and TikTok. I don't care. I would literally stand on the top of my house and shout from the rooftops. So, Leeds, I'm so sorry to hear of your predicament. Evening, Adrian. I've not been on for a while as I had a house fire and had to move. Blimey, Leeds. And yes, Leeds are falling apart again. Well, yes, I mean, I'm not sure whether Sandra, the only Blades fan in the body of the Kirk, is in the body of the Kirk tonight. Simply Grunson, Globalist, £2 in the swear box. Thank you very much. Bovril, and to Rich, and who was the other one? That was Rich. I'm putting my donation to the swear box early. I think it's going to be needed. Brilliant, Rich. Thank you very much for that. And to Andy B, as always, thank you for the super sticker. And Karen, £5 for the fuck box. Brilliant. Thank you, Karen. And that'll get me through the live. I won't get arrested, hopefully, for being a really potty mouth, sweary Mary reverend tonight. Man, Terry, you've missed it. So, anyone that's not in the body of the Kirk that heard my intro, you need to go and listen to it again. Television. Breeding ignorance and feeding radiation. On television. The disposable heroes of hypocrisy. So now you know. I came in a couple of minutes early. That there's a reason why I did, because I was just getting myself, like a prize fighter, getting himself sorted. So you want to know, you want the tea. Down with the kids. You want the tea. You want the stuff, don't you? Well, we'll get to the more serious stuff, but I want to have a conversation with you around Mothering Sunday, because when we are younger, oh, you're so kind, Stuart. I really appreciate it. Telling it like it is. Might get me arrested, Stuart. You never know. I'm hoping. We'll get to ninja swords in a moment, because I'm a martial artist. You know that I'm a swordsman. Not one of those, not with me pork sword. Although I do have a new version of a katana, but I'm just going to give you a bit of an education around swords, because I've been studying it. I've been honing it, as in my it's called kenjutsu, and or my sword play and or my sword skills, and my katana, my blade, my life-giving blade. Looks like I'm going to have to give it up. Now, I don't I don't. Right, let's do Mother's Day first, and we'll get to the other stuff in just a second. I don't want to bounce around from subject to subject to subject. I want to have an adult conversation around a lot of things tonight. So we'll start with Mother's Day. Hang on, Terry Wookford. No, I want the key to the toilet. What are you up to, you muggy tart? So Mother's Day, this time of year, I find it. Look, my mum was in her 70s when she went, and she went with cancer. She was a smoker, so it's kind of, it wasn't expected, but it kind of was expected, really. But it's not, if I may be so bold and very, very deep, we may leave shekel, money, moolah, greenbacks, we may leave some of that behind. But what we definitely leave in this dimension, if you wish, because I don't know whether you're religious or not, or whether you understand the deeper esoteric existence that we have, but all we leave behind is love. Now, that is part of the sermon this evening, so please don't think that I've been out all day hugging trees. None of that trippy hippie shite. I just, because those that have shown us kindness, those that have shown us love, and I've been very privileged through my life. And now I find myself in 2025 where the people that should be leading us in a Christian country, and I'm talking about Charles the Weak, I'm talking about the monarchy, he's nearly killing it off. But then again, cancer's going to get him before he does, as has been revealed over the last few days. They're still not telling us what the cancer is, are they? Is it prostate? Is it pancreatic? Does it begin with a P at any chance? But why aren't they telling us? They didn't tell us about the Queen. No, get that one quite quiet. But, oh, Vix text. Vix text says, today would have been my mum's birthday. And brilliant, Rich. I'm a dyed-in-the-wool atheist. I tend to agree with you. Firstly, it's lovely to acknowledge you, Mum. I'll get to that in a bit, Rich. It's so tonight. I want your stories. I want I want you to be part of an adult conversation this evening, because we are not being led by people who acknowledge Mothering Sundays. They're not. These people are not even acknowledging that anybody has a mother. But it's the end of Ramadan, everyone. Tra-la-la. And I don't decry anyone and their beliefs. I don't. But the way that I see it, and it's very simply this: you move to a country. If I move to France, or if I move to Italy, or Sicily, or somewhere else of great ancient nations, not America, it's only a couple of 100 years old, but you would learn the language. If it's different from English, you would learn the language. You would integrate into their communities and their society and their way of doing things. Yet, we allow people in and they're not integrating. They want Sharia law in this country. I don't understand what that is about, because there's a great in front of Britain. It's great for a reason. It's because we're a fighting nation. The Irish, they're taking on the Irish, and the Irish are not mucking about. They are not mucking about. They will absolutely rip them limb from limb, including the politicians, because the politicians are not leading them proportionately and appropriately. And it's the same in the United Kingdom, if you wish. And I've said to you before, you know who your mother is, you don't know who your dad is. I've told you, there's no gingers in my family apart from the dustbin man and my granddad. So I don't think my granddad was knobbing my mother. I don't know, Now it's queer as folk. Definitely wasn't a bin man. It wasn't outside our house long enough. Les makes a very good point. The indigenous populace are deemed surplus to requirements. Oh. And not to sort of politicise Mother's Day, but, you know, just one day of the year, there's 365, where you can kowtow to other communities within this sceptred isle. Please just allow us Mothering Sunday. Allow us to... Now, look, not every mother has been a great mother, because I know people who didn't have a great childhood, and their mothers weren't great, and I acknowledge that. I see that, and I acknowledge that. But it's just one day of the year. A Mother's Day. I'm not buying into the cards and the bollocks and the bullshit. I'm not buying into that. Don't worry, I've got loads of sweary pennies, so I can get away with being potty mouthed tonight. And thank you for everyone that's supporting my potty mouth. And Les Griffith says it's a wise man that knows his father. Yeah, because the mothers don't always tell you. And there's a load of gay men that are fathers and then go off and be gay men. How does that work? I don't. But let's concentrate on Mother's Day. So I'm going to ask you a question, and it's all around the more general society that we find ourselves in, because I know a lot of people now are catching up with adolescence. Cuban Pete, one, you're wrong. So for 5 minutes or so, if this is not something that you're happy to listen to, maybe it's upsetting, because for me it's very triggering, I think, is the vernacular nowadays, because I miss my mum. She's been gone 7 years, and this is not a woe is me story. It's just loss is part of life. Death is part of life. And we, as in the human condition, are meant to experience this, because we are to get to know ourselves. We are merely a fractal of the ineffable, experiencing itself as consciousness. We are God experiencing itself as consciousness. What consciousness, can't even say it, what consciousness may be, well, it's anybody's guess. I've been very unconscious after some alcoholic benders, but I'm still here. Karina Jane, that's absolutely beautiful. Happy Mother's Day to all the mums on here. Here. But it's the reason why I mentioned the political corruption and ineptitude is because this is a sceptred isle. We are subjects of a Christian king. As I said in my letter to the king on Wednesday, he is a Christian king and lead as such, because the majority in this sceptred isle are of a Christian bent. Whether you respect and revere Christmas, that's enough, or Easter. And some of these wokey fuckwits, this head teacher, you know why they call head teachers, don't you? It's all they're good for. So she's like, oh, no, we don't want to upset anybody. No, as I've said, if I go to France or Italy or some of the other countries around the world that I may want to emigrate to and move to and integrate with, learning their language, learning their customs, learning their way of life, and respecting those. Look, I was in Malta in January, end of January, early February, and sitting there, stuffing me face with a sandwich, and all of a sudden, this mariachi band starts up. And I said to the new Mrs. Allen, what the bloody hell's that? Dunno. And all of a sudden, this ticker tape started, and I was like, what the bloody hell's that? Dunno. And then they bring this effigy of St. Paul, because St. Paul seemingly landed in Malta, so the Catholics have like this one day, this Saturday, and they parade their effigies and just, respect. So I didn't go, you bunch of fuckwits, what are you doing that for? How do we end shite, man? And kick off. No, I sat there and I said, isn't this wonderful? I'm experiencing a different land, a different respect to a different saint, if you want. So I admired and I acknowledged their special day. So it would be good if other people of this parish that may not be of a Christian bent would just actually acknowledge Mother's Day, would actually acknowledge Easter, because most idiots do not know that Jesus of Nazareth only became the Christ after he was arisen, after he died. He had to fulfill God's prophecy. He could only become the Christ once he had arisen. So all these ne'er-do-wells and literally intellectual pygmies that go, Jesus Christ, Jesus Christ, Jesus Christ. I only call him that when I stub me toe. Jesus H. Christ. But these intellectual pygmies, they think he was the Christ from the moment he was born. He was not. So that's why our children are growing up and they're not actually being given truths. They're being given cross dresses. I mean, I'm sure they like the dress that they're in, so I'm not quite sure why they're cross. Vix text, if it's Catholics, there'll be booze at that party. Yeah, not if it's Muslim. But, well, anyway. So, look, I respect and revere anyone that has a faith, a belief, and is following a prescribed thinking. Good on you. Because life's never easy. It doesn't matter which religious vent you are, theology or any kind of philosophy. Life's tough. It's stony sometimes. But that's how we get to know who we are. And that's the point of this. But getting to the point of knowing... Bloody hell, Lynn. Geordie. I think that... So I'm going to ask you this question. And it's not necessarily a vote, but it is an acknowledgement of those women that may be still alive or have passed before us. But those... I'm going to ask you as a parent, and I want your honesty. As a parent, what is it that you think children in 2025 need? I was with some friends on Friday, and they had a little 18-month-old baby boy who was just fantastic. And we were just doing stuff, and you know, we were together as kind of two families, just enjoying each other's company. And children bring joy for me personally, but I'm not a father. I've never been a father. I've had a couple of damn good goes, and I'm still practicing as frequently as I can, but I'm not a dad yet. When I was at school, you know, can you remember when you were at school and the teachers used to go, oh, what do you want to be when you grow up? And some people go, I want to be a lawyer. Oh, yeah, I want to be a barrister. Yeah, I want to go in the army. Yeah, whatever. And I said to my teacher, I want to be Charlie Chaplin. And she said, oh, Adrian, are you thinking about going into showbiz? Charlie Chaplin. I said, no, miss, I want to knock kids out when I'm 85. Semen stains, good cuff in the ear, around the ear, not in the ear. Bloody hell, burst their eardrum. And Amalia, I agree with you. They need a mother and a father. I watched some psychology video the other day that was saying you can always tell those children that have a mother but an absent father. And I don't wish that on anyone. You know, our soul, before it came here, agreed the contract that it would come here and experiencing what it's going to experience. Des says a moral compass and an improved attention span. Yeah, take the phones off them and take them into, well, for me personally, take them into nature. Let them marvel at nature. Let them marvel at the, because little ones, when they're little, will come back with a caterpillar going, oh, look. They're mesmerised by them. They're mesmerised by the beauty of nature. Manda Sky says, love, truth, respect and consistency. Wonderful, Manda. Wonderful. Andy B, loved and to know they are loved and wanted. I mean, I know some of my friends, they would, as we were growing up, they would tell me, oh, I was an unwanted surprise. I wasn't meant to happen. Well, she should have took a couple of house breaks to your dad then. And it's kind of, I think Dave Stewart hits the nail on the head, as a lot of people are this evening. Adrian, all they need at this moment is hope. Now, look what we did to in lockdown. Absolutely, there were no parents that were able to create what the children needed because the state were controlling them. So Mother's Day, I wanted to, there's something called Landmark, the Landmark Forum, which I would advise everybody to do, because it's a real, it creates a whole world of possibility and a different mindset to things. Landmark Forum, look it up. And part of that Landmark Forum, the leader, there's 150 people in the room, the leader says, right, all those that are aged between 20 and 23, stand up. And back in the day, that was the age of people where, on average, they were getting married and they were having kids. And the leader of the day, of the room, said, now look at these people. They're the same age as your parents when they had you. Now, my mum and dad got together when 19. And they were together for 6 months. And then my dad knocked my mother up the duff. Bless him. And technically, I'm in their wedding photos. Oh, shotgun wedding, Adrian. But they were 20, 21. Can you remember how mad you were at 20 and 21? No, the kids nowadays, they're well, if I may be so bold, the women are just mad. They're like Bonnie Blue and Lily Phillips, and now there's another one, Tiffany's probably more accurate. Tiffany Goodtime Child, something or other. She wants to do what Bonnie Blue's doing and Lily Phillips is doing. So they're all at it trying to make millions. There's Bonnie Blue spending $500,000 on a car. Doesn't she know how quickly that'll depreciate? So that, you know, when 20 to 23 or maybe 25, I know there are older parents. I know people will have little ones in their 30s, sometimes their 40s, the way that modern science is. But today, if you've been able to spend any time with your mum, whether it's on the phone, because there was a time I was living miles away, hundreds of miles away from my mum, but on a Mother's Day, I would always call her up and tell her that I loved her, just because you can. And I'm not going to be, even though I am the ranting Rev, I'm not going to be preachy about this evening. I just hope that at some point today, you've been able to have either time with your kids, or your kids have been able to have time with you, whether it's, physically, and maybe having a brunch, or maybe having a lunch, or they may have bought you a card, or I just hope that somehow, whether you are still the child of your mother, or you are a mother yourself, that you have been able to make them and feel loved. Because as I started this particular subject with, all we leave behind is love. And there are those that are in the body of the Kirk this evening whose mum and or dad might not be around. My old man was an absolute caring, understanding 90s type. I mean, a grade A, golden diamond encrusted, caring, understanding 90s type. Hardest man in Sunderland, fuck off. So the worst thing you can do to anyone in spirit is forget them. So even though I'm mentioning my father now, every day, I don't remember that man on purpose. But my mum loved her to bits. She tried her best, given the circumstances, living with an idiot. But she did her best and tried her best for her kids, in my view. And I am the product of her and her love. I'll ask you as a non-parent, because we have, the body of the Kirk is a broad Kirk. I'll ask anyone as a non-parent, because I'm not, and it's the only, through this life, it's the only regret so far, if I have any, and I don't have many, not being a dad. And as a non-parent, I will ask you, what is it you think children need nowadays? I believe they need strong boundaries. I believe that they need love. I believe that they need guidance. I believe they need looking after, in as much as saving them from themselves, because they think they know it. They think when they get to 16, oh, I'm done with education. Oh, do I have to do my sixth form? Yeah, but I'm top of the bills. I'm in charge now, and I know life. And they know nothing. They literally, I've shit more intelligent stuff than what kids know at 16. And you can't tell them. They've got to find out for themselves until they come back crying. So for a Mothering Sunday, and I am purposefully doing this because our political leaders have not. They haven't even had the decency to just acknowledge that there are mothers who have children who are trying their best to look after them, put food on the table if necessary, put shoes on their feet, in the face of huge ineptitude and corruption with our political leaders. Now, as someone once said about two-tier, free gear, queer as folk, Starmer, what's the makeup of his family? How many baby mothers has he got? We'll only find out when he's sacked by the people that actually run the country. And a little aside before I get into something a little bit more serious. Thank you, Karina Jane. Love. That's it. Love. Ulysses Averiu. Good evening, Adrian and all. Happy Mother's Day, ladies. Nice one. You might want to go back and watch the first half hour again. It was lively. Yeah, Stuart says role models. Isn't it funny how those that have experienced life, which has to be lived forwards, not backwards. Isn't it interesting that those that have lived any kind of life, none to make you laugh, none to make you cry, and you never stop worrying about them. Yeah. I mean, I love this little 18-month-old chap on Friday. He just made the day. His personality, there was one point where we walked into a garden off the main street, and his mum took him out of the stroller, and he was running around like a mad thing. He was having his best life. He was screaming and hollering and hooping and hollering, and he was having the best time. So simple. It was just in a bit of nature with soil that he could get his fingers into, find little creepy crawlies, and he was having his best life. So where have we lost that innocence of children? Is it because life just kind of gives you a kick in the bollocks every now and again? And it wins you. It's just, oh, why am I going through this? Why am I having to deal with this? But little ones don't have those worries. They're not a care in the world. And it is beautiful to see little ones in their innocence. But we as adults, non-parents, what do you believe that children need? As a parent, what do you think your child needs, or grandchildren for that matter? Stuart says, my goddaughter will be 3 in 2 weeks, and her little smile lights up my day, and I can't wait to see her. Brilliant. Orkida, thank you very much. Sometimes you need a good kick in the bollocks. Oh, you're too kind, Orkida. Nicholas says, just got over me hangover. Love, Geordie Nick. Don't rub it in. Yeah, wrong. Oh, that's what I was going to say. I apologise to the number one Blades fan in the body of the Kirk. They're sitting atop of the league, 2 points clear. Oy. Sandra, 2 points clear. And there's Leeds and Burnley, I think. Did they not drop a couple of points? So Burnley's third, Leeds second. And I do believe it'll be Sheffield and Leeds that go up to the Premiership. Burnley, they're probably going to get Coventry. And the third team that will go up from the playoffs, I think that Sunderland will end up with West Brom. It's Tony Mowbray's side. He'll know how to beat us. So we'll flog a few players in the summer. But I think it'll be between Burnley and Coventry. Coventry are on the ascendancy, so it's going to be a tight match. Might be on penalties, and I think it will be Burnley. So the 3 Premiership sides that came down last season are going to go up, I think. But Sandra, enjoy it if you get the championship. Well done. And Leeds, who I mentioned earlier, I do hope that you get automatic promotion. Genuinely, I hope you do. Galacticus, hey Adrian, do you remember the days when LBC was fun and sane? Used to listen to you in the AM while playing video games. Miss those days. Brilliant, Galacticus. Have you seen, I was going to mention this, have you seen and I'm not quite sure what Terry Wookford's just said, yeah, wrong, but I'll have a look in a second. Have you seen this story that's coming out about 6 cops turning up at somebody's door, knocking on the door and arresting the mum and dad because they'd been sending emails to the school in disagreement over things. I used to work with Maxie. At LBC. And Roz, she was my producer on some of my shows. And they're fabulous people. Honestly, there's not a bad bone in their body. Maxi's he's a fantastic bloke. And Ross has gone into telly, I think, and Maxi's now producing elsewhere in the radio multiverse. But they are genuinely gentle, lovely people. And the fact that 6 cops have turned up on their door, we're arresting you. I mean, this has to be the point where loads of cops are going to leave that. I've said to you before, there is a term within police that my police officer friends have said, job's fucked. But they've been saying that for 30 years. But it is now, genuinely. So the police are it's the political will. The police now are just the security arm of the government. I mean, I'm surprised the government haven't had the army on the streets carrying guns yet. Ray Norton quite rightly says, Lammy's now spent over $1 million on flights and food. In the words of the great Chinese philosopher, fat bastard. Angelic Inspirations, LBC used to be good. The Bovril, don't mention James O'Brien at LBC. All right, I won't. But this story, it was one of those, and it's in the papers today. And I do believe that Maxi and Roz have done exactly the right thing. They've brought this to the attention of the whole country. Because politically, Starmer and Yvette Cooper, they will be getting somebody's toe up their derriere. Alan Little, chief police officer, has had to apologise for that arrest. An apology's no good. I don't know whether you agree, Alan, but an apology's not that good. So 6 cops turn up at the house. Roz thinks that her little girl, her eldest little girl, has been killed, is dead. That's why the cops always come to your door. Boom, 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 pass the death message. Because that's what cops do. And then she finds out, put your hands back. I've just seen an alert about The Guardian, and a top Tory peer has said that The Guardian caused the Southport riots. I say, The Guardian, a left-wing paper causing right-wing riots, my hairy backside. Anyway, just an opinion. So Roz and Maxi were, bang, 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 bang. And, you can always tell. I mean, I don't know whether you've ever had the cops at your door, but you can always tell the cops knock because they're coming in. And Dominic Beresford says, bloody hell, I was listening to this guy tell his story of being hounded by the police because of a few words on WhatsApp. He sounded like a really measured and decent guy. WTF, that's what the fuck are the police doing? That's my old work colleague at LBC, Maxi, and Roz, his partner. And as I say, I worked with them for quite a while at LBC, and they're fantastic people. They're genuine, gentle, fantastic people. And quite rightly that they should make the rest of society aware of the numpties that are coming and banging on your door. Because it's not the cops on the ground that are deciding this. It's the desk jockeys who don't have to come out and police the streets and police, say, London or Birmingham or Manchester. They're all sitting behind their desks going, oh, yes. Send some of the response officers, would you? And even though Chief Constable, that's correct, Chief Constable, apologising, Andrew James, that is bloody funny. How can you? Yes, we apologise. That's not good enough. Absolutely not good enough. Go and bare your arse in Bin's window. Sorry, it's a Sunderland phrase. Go and bare your arse in some big, I don't know, Lidl's, Aldi, Waitrose, Sainsbury's, Tesco's, Asda. Go and bare your arse so people can chuck rotten tomatoes and rotten cabbages at you. 'Cause that's not good enough. And it was NFA'd, says Alan. I know, surprise, surprise. That's why I'm glad that Maxi and Roz are coming out and having these conversations to alert people. Because, look, the police, damned if you do, damned if you don't. They are being told by their superiors. And by the time you get past like a chief inspector, once you get to sort of superintendent, you're a politician. Once you get to a super, chief super, and then an assistant chief constable, you're just a politician. So you're just looking at tick boxes, tick boxes, tick boxes, and they should. Newty Brown says I prefer Jobling's window. Yeah, gone now though. And it's not good enough. Kind of going in and traumatizing a couple of parents who are trying to do the right thing by their kids. Traumatizing them. They can't use I was just following orders, mate. That's what they said in bloody World War II. Just following orders, mate. Right, well, let's have you up in The Hague then. Let's see how much you like that. Because soon enough, the cops are going to have to say, well, I'm going to have to leave this post. Next thing we'll have to say is, who do we make the check out to? Love the way the man bigged up by throwing in the PTSD bollocks. Well, look, Terry, I get it. I do get it. But for the trauma that this couple and their kids, because the kids were watching, and so why did you send 6? Oh, well, we knew that there might be kids there, and we had to make sure we were doing this and that and the other, and ticking bloody boxes, not policing the streets, not policing the wrong uns and the drug squads and the rape gangs, not policing them. No, don't be silly. We're going to go after a couple of law-abiding citizens who've never done anything in their life. Like I said to you, I've worked with Maxie and Roz at LBC for a few years. They are law-abiding. They're not going to be doing anything. They were low-hanging fruit. So 6 of the stormtroopers appear. Open your bloody door. What's going on? Is it my daughter? No, just go in there. But, is it my daughter? No, it's you. Me? What the bloody hell what have I done? That alone, the police, because it's the taxpayers that pay for the policing. Well, sometimes. If it's Mickey Mouse, what do they call them? British tranny police. The Mickey Mouse one. They don't actually get paid by the government. It's the train operating companies that pay for that security company. Should just do away with them and bring G4S in, because that's all they are, just a security company. Galacticus, thank you. I'll get to that in a second. So Maxie and Roz have had trauma. They were held in cells. I've had a look around on open days because, I was invited. I'd look at like police cells. They're not the nicest place to go to. They're not supposed to be. And the stuff. Oh, hang on a second. Terry might have a point. You don't understand. It sends out the message Starmer's lot wants to put out. Don't criticise the authorities. Even though it's NFA, people will automatically stop criticising local authorities. Oh, no, I want to go even further than that. Do you know the corruption in local councils? Let's have a look at the books. I don't want to know any platitudes from the councillors or the people running local councils. We've got the corruption nationally in the Labour Party and in the Tory Party. I'll give you 2 words, Michelle Mone. So the corruption is awash in Westminster, awash. And yet nobody is allowed to scrutinise the books and what the local councils are spending money on. Let's have a look, you thieving bastards, because they're filling their own pockets as quick as they can go. Look at Birmingham, bankrupt. How's that bankrupt? How? Is it because nationally the government won't give you enough money? Or is it because, well, I've told you about 10% Terry before. Are they all snouts, trough, give me some more money? Possibly. Or what about outsourcing? Look, I am a qualified, I did an apprenticeship, a motor vehicle technician, engineer, whatever you want to call it. I did my apprenticeship at the PWD, the Public Works Department in Sunderland. It was the best training. I did plant, I did HGV, I did vans, I did petrol, I did diesel, and I just had the best training. But all of that was outsourced. Look at your bins. How often do your bins get emptied? If at all. Once a fortnight? You'll be lucky. And then they're going to stick up the council tax, because it's a tax, up another £100. For what? More bin emptying? Or more corruption at local council level? There's been councillors before in the North East in County Durham. They were living in Jamaica and they were still claiming their expenses. They didn't go to the meetings. They were in bloody Jamaica living. Honestly, let's have a look at the local councils. Bollocks to them. Just open the books, look us straight in the eye and tell us you're not corrupt. Because we don't believe you. We believe you are. Show us the books. Terry says, if police officers were held personally liable, you would see a sharp exit from the plot and next to no one joining any police force. I think we're getting to that point now. There is a brain drain, if you wish. Look at the Met. The Met can't police London. They've got the worst. I mean, I know that you've got one police force looking after Scotland and they're looking after Glasgow. Glasgow has always been hard work. I wouldn't be a police officer, a response police officer for all the tea in China, because it's a thankless job. So you're not your sergeant, it would have been your inspector. The inspector would have gone send 6. Yeah, the sergeant would have said to the inspector, but inspector, we haven't got that many cops on. Find them, then I'll find them, and then you can send them. What for? Somebody sending emails asking, or WhatsApps asking what the bloody hell's going on. Yeah. But the inspectors don't care. The sergeants are there for the response police officers. I've been told by my mates. The sergeants are there to make sure that the officers are always safe. The inspector is always looking at the staffing. And anybody above that, chief inspector and super and chief super, they're not police officers, man. They're desk jockeys. They sit there doing absolutely naff all. But I've told you, I heard the story about the superintendent, obviously the politician, who set up a job looking at the brothels in Edinburgh. So he set up this whole thing about all of his cops going in, working if there were slave labour, whether it was Eastern Bloc or Chinese. And it was in massage parlour, shall we say. And the cops were watching this place. And who did they see in his police issue vehicle? The superintendent going in for a happy finish. Bit of executive hand relief, sir. You can't make it up. Honestly, sometimes it's an aberration up there. If you blow up their nose, they'll go off like a referee's whistle. They're about as intelligent as a lamppost. And he got got arrested. And some of the cops in Edinburgh, they know what I'm talking about. Because my informant is impeccable. So we're getting to the point where people are not joining the police force because it's not a vocation anymore. It's not. It's just a thankless task, and they've got to go roll around with the scum and the scum-sucking pond life on the ground on a Friday and a Saturday night. They might be off their tits on gear. They might be carrying a knife. Who would want to do that week in, week out? That's why it's hard to either hire or retain people. So let's move on. I want to get to... we can kind of have a bit of lightness before I get into some seriousness. Because as well as this country, America is corrupt to the core. I mean, to the fucking core. The United States Agency for International Development, you've got the fact that the Democrats were hoovering up all of these millions of dollars that were just being sent across to other foreign countries. And so the Democrats would set up their NGO, which is a non-governmental organization. Thank you, Angelic Inspirations. Always, always, always. I'll have a lovely cup of coffee, cup of cha. Stuart says, my best mate's mum's house was raided in 21 because his ex-brother-in-law told them they had drugs in the house, which they didn't. It was to get back at her for divorcing him. And there is a lot of that goes on. I mean, can you imagine in a divorce? People saying shit that isn't actually true. But the problem is that the police have to, when they're investigating something, they have to look at the victim's testimony. They have to take what the victim is saying as gospel. And look, if you want the bottom line, the police are merely evidence gatherers. They're not judge and jury. The way the judiciary works is police are the evidence gatherers, and they have to get it all. And then it goes on to the CPS. Is it worthwhile? Are we going to get swatting, VIX-TEX? Very good point. Are we going to get a conviction? and then it goes to court, and then trial, jury, and sometimes there are mistakes, sometimes there are not. But hang on, who said that? Derek Tomlinson. Derek. Richard Chamberlain passed away, just seen on the web. Well, I wasn't a fan, Derek. I will say this. I will put my flag firmly to the flag post, and these are my colours. I don't care about people's predilection, sexual predilection, so long as it's not old uns, animals, or kids. Do what the hell you want, so long as it's consensual. I don't care which bus you're on. But Diggy Chamberlain, he was as camp as a 5 bob note, that bloke. He was more camp than bloody Liberace, and that's saying something. But he always looked so handsome and debonair on the screen, a bit like Rock Hudson. And he never came out. He never came out because he was scared that he was going to lose his career. Well, actually, he wouldn't have done. We're very accepting people, both in this country and in America, although I worry about America's racism. So I can't say, oh, that's such a shame. Of course it is. I would never try not to speak ill of the dead. But are people only now finding out he was gay? Because his partner came out and said, oh, it was a terrible tragedy, blah, blah, blah. And anyone passing away is a terrible tragedy. But the real tragedy was the fact that he couldn't be who he was in life. I mean, it wasn't a lavender marriage. There's loads of times where the film studios or the TV execs would kind of, and I know of one broadcaster who actually created a girlfriend scenario, completely fictitious, because he was gay. So you would create this whole life of having a girlfriend, and the film studios would have a lavender marriage where gay woman marries gay man and they both look fabulous together. I mean, I know there are in the top 10 best-selling film actors, male, there are some that have gay lovers dotted all over the world. If ever they come to, say, London or Paris or wherever, they just have that person up in a nice apartment somewhere, so they just go around and get their cock sucked. It's been going on for donkeys. We don't care. I mean, there's some, doddery old birds who think like really good-looking blokes are, oh, they're really funny. They're really funny. As camp as plastic tits. And that's not a bad thing. I'm not denigrating that. But the old birds just, oh, he's so handsome. They normally are. It's the heterosexual males that can't dress themselves and let themselves go. And so now the twain shall meet, so to speak. But Richard Chamberlain just was not. Lauren actually makes a very good point. Yes, I remember those two. Terry says, never heard a complaint from any of the dead ones. I do. Lauren Taylor says, yes, I remember those two. How old am I? It's not age, it's wisdom, experience. It costs a fortune. So I want to get to something that we're going to talk about Starmer. We're going to talk about Conor McGregor. We're going to talk about the Royals because, honestly, Prince Harry is proper in the shite today. I mean, proper. There's no getting away from this. Absolutely none. It doesn't matter how hard they try and spin this. And whichever PR company has been given this particular job, they've got no chance. And we're also going to talk about Ukraine, the end game, because Sniffy, he's some boy, that Sniffy Zelensky. But we'll talk about that in just a little while. I want to talk about what's come out over the last 24 hours or so. And in the last 24 hours, I'll title it One Nation Under Blackmail, as Candace Owen has said. Now, there's two main characters who are putting this out there. It's Robert RFK Jr., Robert Kennedy Jr., the nephew of JFK. His dad was Robert Kennedy. And so his uncle was JFK. And if you'll notice, since Trump got into power, there's not really been any he's not really raised his head above the parapet. And did you not start to think, hang on a second, he was full of this, he was full of piss and vinegar before they got elected. What? I wonder where he's gone. Because he's like some boy. He's for a man of his age, and I think he's in his late 50s. Boy, he's got some body on him. But then again, you know, he comes from money, so he's bound to. It's the ones that are down the mines and down the shipyards that don't have to go, that are not able to go to the gym every day, 5 days, 3 days a week. So, hang on. Sorry, Les. What's talking about Starmer? I wonder how many comments are censored. Well, there's unless I don't know, unless YouTube, unless you're being sweary Mary, I'm allowed to get away with it because I'm saying it. But not sure what's going on. If there's anything that's being censored, just let me know. Let me know so I can make sure that it's YouTube doing the censoring. But RFK, let's get back on track. RFK, he's been MIA, missing in action, and he's been given his job. He's got his job. He's on the case, and all of a sudden, both Candace Owen and a guy called Ian Carroll. Don't know whether you know Ian. He's a great researcher. He's been on Rogan, and he's on the conspiracy side of things, and they're talking about RFK being blackmailed. So he's having to do as he's told, and this is the thing. He was going to come in and sort out all the big pharma and the jibber jabbers and what was in the jibber jabbers, and he's been doing this for a long time, and that's why Trump gave him the job. But now they're saying that not only is it big pharma, because there's some very, very powerful people in that sphere, shall we say, but they're now saying Paulie Galtieri, they killed his uncle and father. Now that's why he's getting a bit twitchy, because the CIA and the FBI and the papers have said it was the Israelis. Ben Gurion, who is revered by the Israeli people as a true freedom fighter, not this Bibi Netanyahu fool, but Ben Gurion, who was a true hero for the Israelis. And now they're saying the Israelis killed off JFK, RFK, RFK and Martin Luther King. So they love a shotgun, but they're saying that there's some pictures and or videos of RFK Jr. shagging away behind his wife's back. So this is how life works. So you have politicians, career politicians who, I mean, if only we'd been able to get Edward Heath and or Cyril Smith and or some others that I'm not going to name the mention of or the name of, because that would definitely get me into trouble, because the families are very upset if I say that so-and-so shagged kids. But it appears that what they do, so it's Epstein and Diddy, and I am absolutely shit sure that... Oh, Deborah. BBC tomorrow to air Eid at 10 a.m. As I say, we are a very accepting people. Jeremy Thorpe, another good one, Lauren. It wasn't Jeremy that I was thinking about. I mean, there was a couple of cabinet ministers that were living as man and wife. They were cabinet ministers living as man and wife in a ministerial home, and that never came out. Neither did they, yet. Publishing be damned, Des. I know. VixTex brought to you by Pfizer. I know. I get it. But here's what. This is how life works. Somebody mentioned Mossad. I think Derek Tomlinson, the most feared non-terrorist organisation in the world. I know, because they know where the bodies are buried and they know who's shagging who. I've said that before. Look at CIA and FBI when certain people have gone to America, whom I'm not going to name, Mandy Mandelson, and they know who he's shagging. They know why. And they know everything. They know that he was in Epstein's little black book, numerous phone numbers for Epstein's little black book. How does that work then? Hang on, I'll take these off. Is that better? So the way that it works in politics, the whips, not as in, but the whips in Parliament, they have to have something on each politician. So they'll know whether they like a bit of the Colombian marching powder. They know if they like shagging kids. They know if they like shagging men, and that's the men. They know who the lesbians are, the one with the comfortable shoes on. They know everything. So that when Sakia wants a whip on, steady. If Sakia wants a whip on, he says, "Gets the whip on, get the whip on." And everybody has to do as they're told. Otherwise, bizarrely, things start being leaked to the press. Now, the press are all part of this gang. They play the game. So I will tell you something else to kind of reiterate what I've been saying for months and months and months. The Daily Mail, they're laying people off left, right and centre. Staff, journos, they're laying everybody off because they're not making much money. They're having to cut their cloth accordingly. So when I say to you, look at the daily newspapers, the only thing that you can ever trust is the price on the front, because they'll never get that wrong. Everything else, it's just bullshit. So you've got the Daily Mail, who are, in using a technical term that we use in radios, in a proper panshite. They have... Brilliant, Terry. The newspapers know. The newspapers know what's about to come out about certain things and people, and they know about ginger bollocks. They know about Meghan Markle's career, obviously in TV. She's an actress. So they know that Uncle Andrew knows. And they know that she likes sailing in yachts. They know. All the intelligence agencies do. So you've got CI5 and Mossad and the CIA. They're all chums. They're doing exactly the same work on exactly the same people. And that's why they can't touch Trump. But they can RFK. These pictures, I don't know whether of his white ass, fiddler's elbow, or whether it's just a video of him, having his wicked way with somebody. But it's something that the wife doesn't want to see. And the people that are blackmailing him are saying, you'll do this, and you'll do as you say, or do as we say, and as you have said. So stop going after Big Pharma, because there's billions in this. This is not small fry, little change, pocket change. This is big money. It's billions, and people want money. It's the root of all evil. But you watch this story, because it's about to go. I mean, unless the CIA and the FBI start sanitizing it, so you'll never hear or know who the Wicked Witch of the West is that's putting this stuff out there. And I think somebody wanted $1 million for the video. That's how it works. It's all about the Benjamins. So you've got Diddy, who's still in jail, but they've got tons and tons and tons of videos of people doing what they shouldn't have been doing when they shouldn't have been doing it. I mean, I'm waiting for J-Lo. Are you not? She was Diddy's eye candy for years. Let's know what you know, J-Lo. And also, I'm looking at Beyonce. Why would I be looking at Beyonce? Let's see how things come out, shall we? So just keep an eye open, because this story is going to go... It's only come out overnight in America. So it's still not getting into the mainstream today. I doubt it'll get into the mainstream over the next couple of days, unless, of course, somebody gets nailed for the blackmailing. That's how life is working around the world. So I wonder what's happened to Bill Gates. You know, the bloke that went, jab them, right in their arm, jab them. What's happened to him then? What does Melinda know? Well, we know what Melinda knows, but can't really say it, because it will get closed down. So you've got all this malarkey going on, and it's everywhere. It's WEF. It's Diddy, it's Epstein. And Epstein was Epsteined because dead men can't lie. Dead men can't speak. But here's the thing. I told you as a prediction for 2025 that Jeffrey Epstein would reappear. Not remember that on one of these lives in December? Yes, I did. You can go and have a look for it. I told you that Jeffrey Epstein was going to make an appearance. Still going to happen. Necker Island will become the next big topic. I'm sure it will, Les. There's old Beardy. He was the one that sacked all of his Virgin staff, the Virgin cabin crew. In my view, and it's only a personal opinion, he's a twat. TikTok was great for the Diddy info at one point. It was, Stuart. There was loads of it. But this RFK, One Nation Under Blackmail, that's how they get things done. Because people won't, whether they're... I mean, if you look at the Israelis, if you look at the Jews in New York, who they had this tunnel network under their synagogue. Whatever happened to that then? Oh, they filled it in, did they? Oh, right, okay. Nothing to see here. Off you go. Why would they have that under the synagogue? And they would have a soiled mattress in those underground tunnels. Oh, I can tell you. Do you want me to? How many children go missing in America? It's big business. It's such big business, it's worth billions. There's 300,000 children go missing in America every single year. Times that by however many thousands of dollars they charge for children. It's a massive industry. And if you're rich and wealthy and that's what that's your predilection, that's what happens. Man in the sky, too many go missing. I know, 300,000 of them. They reckon there's about 100,000 in this country. At least 100,000. I mean, there's been 250,000 victims of the Pakistani rape gangs. And I can say that because it's the truth. And it's been reported upon in the mainstream media. I can't get this monetized, but I can tell you the truth. And that's why these lives are so important. Because I don't bugger about. Look, Reform had a bit of a do in Birmingham over the weekend, yesterday. And are you still buying the bullshit that Reform are feeding you? Nigel's part of the system now. He's being allowed, he's being bought off. It's all about the Benjamins, or rather the pounds, the £5 and the £20 and the £50 if you want. But he's part of the system now. And all this manipulation of people's intellect, they go a bit nuts. Oh, you can't say that, you can't say that. Well, I'm telling you this. I will make this prediction for you. Nothing will change, under Reform or not. Rupert Lowe may go to the Tories. Badenoch gone. The Labour Party are saying, oh, we're going to smash the gangs, and they've done absolutely all. Oh, well, they've given 500 million to Macron. What's that for? Emil. And Starmer can't stay away. Why is that? Told you before, the Romans had this thinking, and it was simply this. Women for procreation, men for recreation. Ask the Romans. They were the biggest empire in the world ever. They've just morphed into the Catholic Church, who were still shagging your kids, by the way. There's Justin Welby, comes out today. Told you it was a stream of consciousness. Justin Welby came out today, not out, just out, and said, oh, there was so many sex scandals. I couldn't handle it at all. I had to leave, and that's why. Well, I knew about Smythe, with a Y, isn't it? Not Smith. Nicholas, first time caller. Would you mind if I said BBC as bent as Rolf Harris? Depends on the size of his didgeridoo, I think, Nicholas. But Justin Welby in the papers today. Now, he resigned. You can't resign if you are God's left-hand man, because the right-hand man lives in Rome. You've got to be his left-hand man. Must be ambidextrous, wank with both hands. So if you are God's left hand on earth, how can you turn around and say, well, I'm resigning? You can't resign. That's God you're answerable to. And when God is unhappy with you, he'll smite you down with a bloody flash, a bolt of lightning. That's how that works. Can you imagine getting upstairs and Sir Peter goes, Justin. Is that a man with a little penis? Justin. What's his second name? Bugger me! Wellesby, you're not coming in here. Fuck off. You're going downstairs. No. You're not getting a harp. You're not getting wings and a halo. No. How many PDFs did you hide, Mr. Wellesby? Oh, I was under a lot of pressure. Don't matter. Down you go. Hell it is. For damnation. For eternity. Hell and damnation. That's your reward, mate. Rotherham Children's Capital of Culture. Rotherham, I know, Lauren. I know. And the council in Rotherham, who is it controlled by? They're not going to ever tell you the truth. They're never going to allow you access to the truth either. Nigel Farage said he admires Keir Starmer and that he's a perfectly decent human being, says Andrew James. You are correct. Your research stands you well, sir. So I am just telling you this. Nothing will change unless the system changes, not the political party that are sitting there that want, Speaker of the House of Commons spunking $250,000 on travel. How does that work? Well, it's the taxpayers, Your Honour. We're allowed to fleece them. Couldn't make it up. Well, you could. People wouldn't believe you until it was the Speaker of the House. Lindsay Hoyle. He's Yorkshire, seemingly, or is he Lancashire? Talks with a northern accent, so he's a man of the people. Spunking $250,000 on travel. First-class travel. And here's us scratting around to pay our bloody council tax bills. Brilliant. Angelic inspirations dipped in concrete, Tom. Who I say. God should do his smiting with a rolled-up newspaper. And then angelic inspiration says dipped in concrete. I agree. But hang on. So what is God upstairs if he, he's not supposed to be? He's omnipotent, omnipresent. So he's everywhere and everything. And some people may ask the question, why is God allowing this to our children, of all people? Children, Matt Hancock killing off the pensioners in homes. Why isn't that man in jail serving a bloody long sentence? Why isn't Boris the Clown in jail for believing those two arseholes either side of him? Next slide, please. And where's Valance gone? And Whitney? They'll have gone somewhere for plenty of money. Oh, let's have a think. Isn't Valance Tony Blair Institute? And there's another evil. So that's how it all works. If they've got something on you, they want to use it for you to do as you are told. And I'm talking in general terms about the politicians. They are told what to do, what to say, and when to say it. That's why. Why do you think all of a sudden they're making emergency announcements outside of number 10 Downing Street? Yeah, we know what it's about. It's because those in WEF or the Club of Rome or the Committee of 300 or the Bilderberg Group, they're not always glued to their telly, but they'll get somebody to chop it up, send it to them, watch it on email. Brilliant. He's done as he was told. Galacticus, it's a satanic cabal, Adrian. It is something beyond the imagining of any shady group of villains in a Bond film. You are absolutely bob on, Galacticus. Bob on. But this is the current zeitgeist. It's the fight between good and evil. I'm up for it, if you are. Can't use me katana. That's what I was going to talk about at the beginning. Let me tell you about this. Now, my martial art is ninjutsu. I'm going to give you a bit of a quick education so you get hold of understanding. I'm not just going to throw this at you, so presuming that you will understand this, but I am going to give you information that will give you understanding. So when you see these cretins stand up in the Pink Palace spouting this and spouting that, they're spouting out of their arse. Oh, back to Lord Ali again. Les Griffiths, Revelation is being played out in real time. Agreed, Les. Terry, problem with Starmer is he's a slave to WEF masters, the puppet masters, but it's not. So you know that Klaus Schwab is actually a Rothschild through family lineage. And I've told you before, It's the Rothschilds that want to control all the central banking system of every country in the world. Now, they've got so far that they've got pretty much all of them, apart from 5 or 6 of them. Syria is now under their control. Venezuela, it keeps popping up, and that will be done in the next 20 or 30 years. And here's a thing, and the reason why I keep reiterating this to you before I get to the ninja swords is this. I've been telling you for nigh on 2 years that these central banking systems, the Rothschilds banking system, want them. The central banks of these countries. They include North Korea, Russia, China, Venezuela, Hungary, Syria, Iran. Now, have you noticed how Russia, Iran, North Korea, Venezuela are always in the news? They're always there. And have you never thought, hang on a second, why are they in the bloody news? Well, I'm going to tell you this. We have European leaders telling you to make sure that you've got 3 days worth of stuff in your house. And I'm talking about food and stuff and bog roll. I mean, look at when we were told we're going to lock you down for 5 or 6 weeks. There were these idiots, these caring, understanding 90s types that were literally fleecing the supermarkets of all the bog roll. And I kept thinking, are they going to eat that? No, they're so full of shit, they need all those bog rolls. So we're being told by the Europeans, we're going to war, yeah, let's get stuck in. And the French are already getting their cadets. And I've got the pictures, thank you to the Scarlet Pimpernel, I've got the pictures of them on exercise. So France are doing it. So what was Starmer doing in France last Thursday? I would hazard a guess that he's making some kind of agreement with France so that France and England are putting boots on the ground in Ukraine because they want Russia. They want the Russian central bank. They're going to be at it and at it and at it until Putin falls off his perch. But Putin's not stupid. He's got people in the background that the minute he falls off and, shuffles off this mortal coil, off to upstairs to play his harp, he'll have other people behind him. It's like being Liverpool manager in the old days when Bill Shankly and Bob Paisley were managers. They always brought them from in-house. Now, I'm not suggesting the Liverpool Football Club are communists or Marxists or socialists. I'm just saying, as an analogy, the Russians will have somebody like Putin waiting in the wings for when Putin dies. And Bob Paisley worked in the background and was possibly one of the most successful Liverpool managers above and beyond Bill Shankly, who was revered as a god. Now, look at the reportage this week. Now, you've got the president of Hungary going, oh, here, lads, what you doing? No, we're not going to get involved in any war. Stuff you for a lark. No, we're Hungary, and we're happy the way we are. Because they're trying to get Hungary involved so that they can have the central bank of Hungary. And then there's a couple they've knocked off. Venezuela are almost there. Syria's definitely gone. They'll then get Hungary, and then they've just got to get Iran. Well, Israel will take care of that very, very soon. Mark my words, because they're not going to stop. Rothschilds, the Jews. So Israel is going to take on Iran soon. And then you've got Russia and China. China keeping that zipped. They're keeping that zipped. They want stability because they want to make money. They want to be in control. And they own a load of American debt. That's how these countries own everybody else. They own their debt. And that's how you control people. You, me, anybody else. If you're in debt, they can control you. If you're affluent, you're not going to do as you're told. That's why they keep you in debt permanently. And that's why China owns all the debt. They're not stupid, these Chinese. I mean, have you wandered around recently? There's bloody millions of them in this country. Forget the Muslims. Forget them. I mean, I went to, where was it? Vancouver. Went to Vancouver. Saw me mate across there. I said to him, bloody hell, there's a few Chinese here, isn't there? He's like, yeah, watch out. Anywhere you go, any major conurbation, any major capital city, London, Vancouver, I'm sure there's tons in America, but you look anywhere. Do not ever walk around with your eyes closed, is all I can say to you. But watch out for Hungary. That's the next one on the list, and they want that one. So they'll get them down to 2 or 3, and then they're trying to provoke Putin into a massive war. Sniffy needs the war. I've told you, if the war ends in Ukraine, Sniffy is probably going to get Epsteined by people who don't actually like him, and there are a few in Ukraine. So, Tom Harney's Poland stopping asylum applications. It wouldn't surprise me, because some of the countries are like, no, you're not coming in. Bugger off, you're not coming in. But let me tell you about the reason why I mentioned my martial art, ninjutsu. I've been a student of ninjutsu. It's a lifetime's work. So I've been a student of ninjutsu, blimey, 25 years. And within ninjutsu, the way martial arts are meant to work, I'm not talking about the martial sports. I'm not talking about the Meiji Restoration of 1867, where the emperor, the Japanese emperor, said that the martial ways are barbaric. So you've got to turn them into sports. So if you look at karate-do, judo, taekwondo, but I know it's not Japanese. If you look at any of the martial ways that ends in do, D-O, that after the Meiji Restoration became a sport. There are only 2 martial ways that continued as a martial way. I'm talking an all-encompassing art. They are jiu-jitsu and ninjutsu. Now, within ninjutsu, we teach our students to play musical instruments. There are 8 gates of enlightenment. There are numerous schools broken down into some sword schools, some open-handed technique, kopajitsu, which is the bone-breaking technique. That's open hands, bone-breaking techniques. And there are other things within ninjutsu that are very, very powerful. One of them is the life-giving sword. You will notice that I am talking about the life-giving sword. I'm not talking about ninja swords. And here's a bit of irony for you, that this family who were pushing this, and that gives the politicians deniability, because they're saying, well, it was this family that petitioned, and yeah, we did it for, to stop knife crime. 1, they don't use swords. 2, they use kitchen knives. 3, I want to find out where all the bloody machetes are coming from. Not the swords, because they're very rarely used. But the son of this couple, who was sadly murdered, was called Ronin. And if you know anything about the martial ways, you will understand that a Ronin is a masterless samurai. I'll say that to you again. A Ronin is a masterless samurai. It's a samurai without a master. That's why they used the ninja. The ninja were the intelligence gatherers. The ninja were the SAS of the feudal ways in Japan. So when they talk about ninja swords, they need to be more explicit than that, because there are a few different kinds of swords. Now, you can have a ninja sword, which is a straight bladed sword, and if that is the only sword that they want taking off the streets, there are people that have studied the warrior art of Kenjutsu, sword school, that have studied it for decades and decades and decades. These people don't go out with their swords, Johnny Big Bollocks, and start stabbing people or cutting people's arms and heads off. No, they don't. Because you give a weapon to a warrior uses it on himself or herself. And the warriors only ever fight themselves, because it's about self-improvement. You go into a warrior art and they break you down and they build you back up. So my ninja buddies in the BBD, in Dublin, around the UK, they all know this, that if you are trained to a specific level, you can take a katana or a ninja sword off the person wielding it. And how can I say that? Because it's a long-range weapon. The minute you get into the cutting arc, and remember, the sword, the cutting part of the sword is the last couple of inches of the sword. It's not down at the suba, it's the last couple of inches. And if you get inside the cutting arc of a sword, it is literally useless. But the martial artists know this. The people that might be flinging around these plastic, I'll call them katanas because that's what I know them as, a samurai sword, which is a curved sword. And I've studied this for 25 years. So I've done literally hundreds of thousands of draws and resheaths. Draw, resheath, draw, resheath. Because within the martial art, you don't fear the man that has done 1,000 techniques once. You fear the man that's done one technique 1,000 times. And I've had a katana on my hip for 25 years, the sharp bladed. Now, when people come into the martial arts, we give them what we call a bokken. A bokken is a wooden replica of a katana. A katana is a samurai sword. The samurai carried three blades: katana, wakizashi, and tanto. Now, the katana you would see on their hip, the wakizashi, so the katana is a 36-inch sword. A wakizashi is 24-inch or possibly smaller on the other hip, and the tanto was always hidden. And the tanto is just a blade, a knife, kitchen knife, if you will. So these intellectual pygmies in the Pink Palace who are being so disrespectful to men and women that have trained for decades in their art to improve themselves, they're saying, oh, we're going to take your ninja swords off you. If you've got one at home, we're going to jail you for 6 months. And if you carry one about in public, we're going to jail you for 3 years. So you can't have a katana at home. You can't have it on display. And let me tell you something else. The warrior always displays their katana, wakizashi, and tanto as a 3 with the handle of the blade to the left. Because in Japan, if you have them racked to the right, it is seen as a sign of disrespect and aggression. Because all swordsmen, bar none, are right-handed. All of them, bar none. So if you've got your blades racked for display in your home and they are racked to the right, it's for the swordsman to be able to grab the handle, unsheathe the blade and use. And in Japan, that's seen as a massive disrespect. So all warrior artists know to rack their blades to the left. But now you can't even do that, because if you've got one of those in the home, you're going to be jailed for 6 months. That's not actually dealing with what is causing the stabbings. It's not. It's not the blades, it's the person using them. So now all these swords, and there's going to be some kind of amnesty where you're going to have to hand them in. And I've had my main training katana for 20 odd years. And I'm going to be gutted. Because I've never used it in sight of any other person except those that have been training in my art. None of them. And even to the point where the bokken, the wooden replica, I can kill somebody with a blood and wooden replica. It's easy. It's about intention. I can stab somebody with a wooden replica. It's easy because it's all about intention, if you know how to do it. And yet, they're just using this to say, Labour are intent on stopping knife crime. No, you're not. Idris Elba. What a muppet. What an utter arse of a muppet. He said, I'm going to stop knife crime. I'm going to stop knife crime. And he's in the paper today going, oh, no. He's done absolutely feck all except get the coverage in the mainstream media. What an egocentric sociopath twat. And I'm angry because I've been training for decades with my life-giving sword. I've never taken it out in public or my life-giving sword has never been out in public. Before you start making your own jokes, you mucky tarts. And it's plenty of videos on YouTube showing them how to manufacture cheap tomahawks and machetes. I know, Alan, it's these ninja swords. But the thing is, when you've got barristers and legal people making laws, they leave it opaque enough or grey enough so that nobody actually knows what they're talking about or how they're talking about it. And that's why they do it. Because, look, all the barristers and the lawyers in the legal profession are looking for is a moral vacuum. You create a moral vacuum, you will make shit tons of money. And these intellectual pygmies are only in it for the coin. They're not in it to do the right thing. They're only in it for the coin. Why do you think he's now Prime Minister? I used to be Director of Public Prosecutions. Well, go off and go back there then if you loved it that much. I feel so sorry for people that genuinely are peaceable people that train in earnest with passion and dignity, and they love their martial way. So whether it's a samurai school, sword school, whether it's kenjutsu, which is the ninja sword school or one of them, how do you tell people that have trained earnestly for decades? Sorry, mate, if you keep that at home, we're going to arrest you and you're going to go to jail for 6 months. Nicky Watson says, there must be a different approach to it if you practice and train in the art. Well, maybe. I mean, have they put a law through Parliament? Look, if the assisted dying bill, and I laughed, I literally burst my incontinence pants today. Esther's going to die before the assisted dying bill goes through Parliament. And now the architect of the bill is saying that they're going to add they're going to change some of it, so it's going to have to go through Parliament. It's going to be delayed. And poor Esther, she's going to cark it. I mean, we thought that she'd found the cure for cancer, but now she's going to cark it. And bizarrely, she can't get Dignitas in Switzerland to be able to end her life. Oops. I don't care. I don't speak ill of the dead. But I tell you what, when she goes, oh, wait for the stories coming out. Bernard Braden would be spinning in his grave. Evil is as evil does. It'll come out, I promise you. Les Griffiths, my wife can kill with egg and chips. I'm brilliant, Les. I'm going to be serious. Anybody with any knowledge, you can kill somebody. No, hang on. No, I won't say that. All I will say is this. I do hope that the intellectual pygmies in the Pink Palace, they will literally look at any kind of bill or law that they're putting through and acknowledge that there are people of the martial ways who should be allowed to have a pass or a registration. They're giving an amnesty for the blades. Look, I agree. Kitchen knives and tantos are very dangerous. Wakizashi, that's more. So your katana, your 36-inch blade, is a long-range weapon. When you've got that sword in your hand, it's 3 feet away. That's the killing zone of a sword. So if you get into, and we teach techniques of getting into and getting and disarming a katana of somebody. I mean, I laughed at some of my mates. Like, oh yeah, this happened today and that happened today, and we had to get the dogs in, we had to get the firearms in. I said, why didn't you give me a shout, man? I just would have come down, taken it off him and shoved it up his ass. Oh, no, you, pussies. So, and that's as far as I'm going to go, because the people that are skilled and expert in handling a katana, that's what I'm going to call it, not a ninja sword. Ninja sword is completely different. It's a straight blade that is used in kenjutsu. It is the warrior art. It's a sword school, a ninja sword school. And I'm telling you again, and I will reiterate this, it's not the blade that kills people. It's the person using it. And there are some wonderfully expert people. I mean, can you imagine the Japanese looking at us over here? It's bad enough because the Japanese only invented kata for the Western mind, because the Western mind couldn't grasp what the Japanese were doing in many different ways. I'm gutted, genuinely gutted, that they haven't had the decency or the courtesy for those of us that have trained for decades in a martial way. I mean, my ninja teacher, I once went there. Les Griffiths, a katana is a 30-inch razor blade. No, it's not, Les. No, it's not. If somebody is sharpening up their katana, it's a 36-inch. The wakizashi is 26, 27. But the katana is a 36-inch metal blade. It's not razor sharp. You might think it is. The training katanas that we use are not sharp at all. The only damage is the 2 or 3 inches, because when you bring a sword and you bring it in an arc down, it's that last couple of inches. It's always the last couple of inches that hurt, as I keep telling everyone. The last couple of inches is the damage zone, for want of a better term. It's not the whole sword. And if they're sharpening up into a razor blade, then they should have it taken off them, because they're dangerous. But those that have trained with a katana in a martial way are respectful of other people and other people's lives, other people's families, other people's communities. We do not take this lightly at all. Herding cats. If you don't know how things will go, may I suggest you revisit the outpouring of hate on the 29th of June and the following days. Non-natives were literally walking around with many sharp instruments. Les Griffiths. So 2 inches can decapitate. Credit card can do that. You think I'm joking? Alan says, I watched craftsmen creating these swords. I mean, it's beautiful. It is beautiful to watch. It's layered and forged, heated up and layered and forged again and again and again. Fascinating. And those katanas are worth hundreds of thousands of pounds or dollars, because they're the most revered. I know that when Japan fell in World War II, the one thing that they took off them was the katanas, because a lot of Japanese followed the samurai way, the samurai edicts. But I will tell you, ceramic, credit card, knife, lethal and not detectable with a metal detector. I know, Rich. I know. And that's why it saddens me that they've like Yvette Cooper. Yvette Cooper it would be very easy to say, look, we get this and we want to stop this. So we're going to tackle it at grassroots. We are going to look at certain things, and we want the people, the great British people, to work with us, because we want to get a lot of the blades off the streets. We want to get places, safe places for people to get to if ever they come across this. But in all the fighting, the knife fighting that I've seen, it's never been a sword. It's always been a kitchen knife or a small fighting knife or hunting knife. And the kids that I've seen are using the slightly longer stuff, the machetes. I want to know where they're getting them from. Because I've been around, places and shops. You can get them abroad, dead easy, but you can't get them into this country because they're actually illegal. So where do they get them from? I'm saddened that an adult and responsible way has not been taken by these intellectual pygmies. Well, I tell you about Alan, my Swiss Army knife always served me well. I agree with you. Some of the army surplus stores have got fantastic equipment in them. And I know people take the mickey out of the plastic soldiers, but some of the stuff you can get in those army surplus stores are fantastic. But maybe that's where they're getting the machetes from. But I always thought that they were poorly. This is a black community problem, and it won't be addressed. Agreed. Hang on, what's Terry said now? And back in the day, we used to carry sheath knives all the time. 6-inch, never had a problem. Never felt compelled to push it into anyone. No, but sadly, and I made this prediction in the late 90s when we were being inundated under the Blair government, that there was a lot of knife culture being imported into the country from some of the Eastern Bloc countries, some of the Far East. Knives are carried everywhere. And I did make the prediction that sooner or later it was just going to be about carrying knives in this country. And now we've got kids that are coming through school that I'm surprised they're not putting metal detectors in all the schools, because kids are having to carry just to stay safe. And the fact that they're carrying means other people have got to carry just to feel safe. And it just takes one lunatic to kind of go off it and then end somebody else's life, which banning ninja swords is not going to stop anything. Nothing. And the fact it's Ronan's law, don't they understand? Masterless samurai. I mean, they could have picked another name for it. I want to tell you about Stevie Wonder. Stevie Wonder, and we'll get to Starmer in a second again. Stevie Wonder, he's performing at Hyde Park. Now, maybe this is me just being a tight-arse northerner, because I don't like spending money needlessly. And Stevie Wonder, I'm not sure how long he's going to be alive. I mean, he's, in his 80s now? Got to be. But he's doing a concert at Hyde Park. And I would suggest, maybe you agree, that the prices for the tickets to see Stevie Wonder at Hyde Park are really out of the reach of most people. Because if you're going to go down to London, then you've got an overnight stay, and you know how expensive London hotels are. You've got to have travel. And if you want a standard standing ticket, 123 quid. Not the VIP end, not the glamping end, not the silly money end. This is 123 for a standard standing ticket. And if you want premium standing, you're not even going to get your ass down on a seat. 155. And that's from Ticketmaster. So no wonder people are complaining about ticket prices like Oasis. Ticketmaster needs to be disbanded. Because now we've got computers or AI, which can literally just grab tickets as quick as they want. Brilliant. Alan says, Bonnie Blue was banged more times than Stevie Wonder's toes. Matthew Whedon, what a rip-off. I agree, Matthew. 123 quid for standard standing. And then you've got to buy hotel, travel. I mean, if there's a couple of you, like, I don't know, husband and wife or boyfriend, girlfriend, or just friends, I mean, you're talking about a 500 quid concert. Easily. And most people can't afford that. How much did Ticketmaster make of that? So I was going to talk about Starmer, because I can't get past, and I'm not going to step over the disgusting man not literally acknowledging that it's Mother's Day in this country. And yet, when he was campaigning to get into power, he couldn't help himself mention his mother every single bloody speech. And his dad was a toolmaker. His mum worked in the NHS. When it comes to Mother's Day, he's not even put out a message to mothers and his own mother. I mean, how duplicitous, how evil. Have you looked at his eyes lately? But he wishes the Muslim community joyous Eid in a social media post. There's agendas left, right and centre, and we are just collateral damage. Rich says, Starmer, what's a woman? Lord Ali. So at the conclusion of Ramadan, there's no mention of mothers on Mother's Day. Again, I will reiterate. I wish all mothers, present and past and future, all mothers around the world, I recognise you and acknowledge you. This country and every country around the world. Because, like, I'm a bloke, I'm never going to be pregnant. As much as the wokerati might tell me that I can, I can't. I'm a bloke. I do certain things, and I'm there to facilitate certain things. But I can never be a mother. I could never be all the things that mothers go through. They never actually rest. Although there is one mother. Have you seen Katie Price recently and her turkey teeth? She used her son, Harvey, to flog CBD gummies. I mean, literally, I I don't have the words. I mean, I've tried for a couple of days. I saw the video on Friday, and what is she thinking? Is she just on the grift? Does she not have enough money? Using your son, little Harvey, 22-year-old. Here's some gummies. Oh, by the way, here's the make that Harvey likes. No. So as much as I maybe have a romantic vent around mothering and mothering Sundays, there are some that literally, I mean, which one's pregnant? Lily Phillips or Bonnie Blue? One of the two's pregnant, seemingly. Terry Wookfit, no flies on our Katie. Anything to turn a buck. I know, I've seen the video. Katie Pitts, whatever, do her fans seeing her? Well, unless you've seen the video. I agree, Stuart. She's a disgrace. That's why, look, I'm a professional communicator. I've done this for 40 years. I literally can't find the words. I just stared at the video, and there's little Harvey. He's not so little anymore, and there is a reason why he's a big boy. But she just kind of takes the top off, and he's like, whoa, chucks a gummy down his neck, and she's like, no, you can only have two. You can only have two. And then he chucks another one down, and then she turns the container towards the camera, and then there's a still shot of him with the container of the gummies for the camera. I mean, I know that I could say, well, maybe I'm being disrespectful, but I'm not. I'm looking at, he's 22, so he's old enough, he's an adult. He can do whatever he wants. But Katie, man, what the fucking hell are you doing? Because we see this. We don't see it necessarily as Harvey having a bit of fun. We see what's going on. And I know there's a there's a phrase in the good book which is judge not, lest ye be judged. But I would not use my kids to make money. I wouldn't. And I don't know how much money she was paid. But either way, unacceptable. Let's get to the royals. Now, the king has cancelled his spring Romanian walking holiday. Obviously, he wanted to go and see Vlad the Impaler last year. He's also cancelled the African spa visit. Excuse me a second. So he's cancelled his Romanian walking holiday. He's cancelled his African spa visit. He cancelled his visit to kiss the Pope's ring the other day. He's been in for another treatment on Thursday. Now, look, I know I'm not bright. I know I'm as thick as two short planks. But what cancer's this guy got? Charles the Weak. He's had cancer for a year. Surely it's in remission now. But they're saying, oh, well, he's a little weak. He can't go and do this and he can't go and do that. This is the king. The king can go and do whatever he wants with whomever he wants within reason. But he's got private jets. He doesn't have to stand there like we do and wait half an hour to be called to the gate, or an hour or 2 hours. He doesn't have to go past dropping his baggage off. He gets staff to do that for him. So he literally just walks on, sits down, hour later he's where he was needed to be. So what's taxing about that? Oh, don't mention taxes. So he's been treated for a non-disclosed cancer for over a year. The press had said previously that it was prostate. Is it pancreatic? Or has it metastasized? They're not telling us, they won't. Didn't tell us about the Queen, not telling us about Charles the Weak. But they are setting William and Catherine up to take over as King and Queen. And then Camilla, she's no longer the Queen, she's the Queen Dowager. That will be her official title. Genuinely, she'll be the Queen Dowager. It'll be like an episode of Downton Abbey. And Downton Abbey, new film coming September 12th. Not that I'm a fan or anything. Prostate with potential secondaries. That's what I'm saying, Terry. I don't know whether it's metastasized and how much it's gone around his body. I wish the king a long life. I wish him as good health as possible. But are we looking at the end days of this particular iteration of the monarchy? And I I will never get past the Muslim prayers in St. George's Chapel, Windsor Castle. I won't. And history will not be kind to Charles the Weak. It won't. He might have been the longest serving Prince of Wales, but I don't, oh, bloody thing. I don't see him or history being kind to him. Talking about his offspring, I was looking for the picture that I have of Harry and somebody else, and literally you can't. It's just, I mean, it's almost like he's a mixture of a couple of people. Definitely not Charles the King, but I'm going to call Ginger Bollocks Prince Harry the Entitled, simply because he was the head of Centre Barley charity with some prince from Lesotho. And the head of the Centre Barley charity has called his brand toxic. Oi, 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 oi. He's deep in the doo-doo now. I mean, I know that they're trying not to, that they're trying to stay with the data. They're trying to stay with the facts. But I'm telling you that Harry is deep in the shite. Proper. Nose level. She's saying, the head of Centre Barley charity is saying that in April 2024, she's Dr. Chandwauka, and she was asked publicly to defend Harry's wife, the Duchess of Sussex. Dr. Chandwauka told the Financial Times, that's why not many people are reporting it in the mainstream media, the Financial Times. Bloody hell, what's it doing in there? Because nobody will read it. Very few people will read it. But maybe it will start to come out over the next few days. So Harry and the other prince from Lesotho have said, oh, we're resigning in support of the board. And yet the head of the board, the head of the charity, has turned around and said, I said no, I was not setting a precedent by which we become an extension of the Sussex PR machine. Now, she's previously railed at the entitled one, and I quote, for playing the victim card, unquote. And she's previously said, start the quotes. Beneath all the victim narrative and fiction that has been syndicated to the press is the story of a woman who dared to blow the whistle about abuse, poor governance, weak executive management, and the abuse of power. I'll stop there. Little Harry, as well as being facing allegations of bullying, harassment, misogyny, and hopefully I won't mispronounce this, misogynoir, which is actually misogyny against black women. So Prince Harry, has he been found out? Little Harry the Entitled lost his virginity to some dirty Buer in some horsey type in a field near a pub. Classy, mate. Classy. We will get into Ukraine, the end game, because it's vitally important that you see this, because France and Britain, they're going to put your kids, your grandkids, on the ground in Ukraine. Mark my words. There's no messing about with this. That's what they're up to. They'll send France in first, and then we'll go and back them up. Stuart says, remember where he got frostbite? Was it in the Arctic? I'm joking, Stuart. I know where he got frostbite. Kiss it better. Warm it up, he said. Both hands. So, Martin P. Think it's anything to do with the the United States Agency for International Development, USAID. The money's drying up in the last month or so. It could be, Martin. It could be. By the way, if you're a first-timer, thank you for all the first-timers this evening. So we need to get to the essence of what's going on in Ukraine. We know that it's been a money laundering service for the Western governments. We know that the United States pumped billions of dollars into Ukraine so that they could possibly get them on the edge of NATO. And NATO means you have to buy from preferred suppliers, namely American. And Joe Biden trousered 92 million in backhanders. $92 million in backhanders out of Ukraine. So we know that Ukraine's corrupt. We know that Ukraine has been used to launder and wash money, billions and billions and billions of British pounds, American dollars. They're all pumping it through Ukraine to have it washed. And then there's Putin. He's not interested in the war. He's interested in energy independence. Please remember this whenever you see any of the bullshit in the press. Putin's not interested in Sniffy Zelensky, how much marching powder he's doing, or what he's doing with the money. Buying hotels in Eilat, perchance. So Putin wants the oil and gas out of the Black Sea. If you're new to the channel, BlackRock as well, Deborah Hart, yes, of course. Putin did a deal with George W. Bush Jr. and got the pipeline out of the Caspian Sea. And under the Caspian Sea, at that point in 2000, conservative estimates was there was 300 years at the current consumption levels of oil and gas under the Caspian Sea. There is the equivalent under the Black Sea. And that's why Putin wanted Crimea. Wasn't necessarily bothered about all the stuff that was going on in Ukraine. He just wanted the black gold out of the Black Sea. And the mainstream media are talking about the war in Ukraine. How do we end shite, man? Sniffy has trousered billions. Starmer has said to him, we're going to give you $3 billion a year for the next 100 years, so long as we can have some of your minerals. And Trump, metaphorically, has said, oi, Starmer, you twat, get out, go, the pair of you. We are American. We've pumped money in here. We'll have the minerals. Thank you very much. And then Sniffy goes out to the White House and says in his faux Ukrainian accent, no. And Trump's like, I think you'll find it's yes, mate. Well, either you're going to do a deal with us or you're not. And forget Britain. We're not interested. And can you imagine little Starmer? I mean, he's got small man syndrome, in my view. He's there going, and Donald towers above him, like 4 foot taller than him, going, oi, Starmer, shut the fuck up, mate. Deborah Hart, sniff the money. Yeah, and the Columbia marching powder. Mind you, he's probably using the dollars to chop the lines out. Sorry, credit card, sniff. Andrew James says, Terry, if you have a spare £167.15, you can see Stevie Wonder live. Jesus, Andrew. It's not even funny. So, do not believe the sniffy narrative. Do not. The narrative is that Putin is a warmonger, Putin can't be trusted, and he's going to bomb us. So we've got to get all of our children onto the front line, because it can't be Ukrainian children. There's none left. They've killed over 500,000 Ukrainian males. The Ukraine is never going to come back from this. They're not, because there's a generation of men they've killed. So you've either got the old boys who are going to shag the young girls. I very much doubt that's going to happen. Or they've got to wait a generation for the babies that are now coming out to get in adulthood to start knocking the babies down. And that's what Sniffy's done to Ukraine. And the West, and the Brits, and the Americans, and the French, because they love their fingers in various hairy pies. So let me ask you a question. How is Sniffy going to get the billions out of Ukraine? Eilat hotels. Leave that with you. Now, he's got property around the world, seemingly. So this is not about peace. It's about how Sniffy is getting out of Ukraine alive. Because there's people in Ukraine that want him dead, deceased. Epstein. They want him gone. They want this war over because they've lost a generation of men. Can't I tell you how important this is? Doesn't matter about the money. It's a generation of men that has been lost, that has been killed on a bonfire of the vanities. Sniffy, a couple of days ago, and this is how, they are literally poking the bear. It's not a euphemism. Alan says they are outbreeding British men at the moment too. Well, would you want to go with a British woman? Have you seen the state of them lately? I mean, I'm not being disrespectful, but where I'm from in Sunderland, they're bloody orange people. They have like fake tan. I wouldn't. Can you imagine just, having your wicked way and then walking away and bloody hell, I'm covered in orange stuff. I just wouldn't. So the narrative of Putin can't be trusted. Putin needs to be Epsteined. Putin knows what they're at. He doesn't care. He just wants energy independence and has done for the last 40 years and has been working towards. So the Russian people has energy independence and they don't count out to anybody else and they can sell the gas to us at inflated prices. But a couple of days ago, Sniffy come out and went, oh, yes, I'm going to predict that President Putin's going to die. Well, obviously, he's not psychic, because I hate to tell him, we're all going to die. All of us. Nobody gets out of here alive. But then, outside the FSP headquarters, a couple of days later, one of his limos was bombed. I mean, literally. Have you seen that? The newspapers haven't covered it. I've had to see that on X. I've seen the video footage. My eyes have seen it. So a couple of days, Sniffy's like, oh, yeah, Putin's going to die. And everybody's like, oh, God, has he been on the marching powder again? And a couple of days later, outside the FSB headquarters, one of Putin's limos exploded. Now, they're poking the bear. They're trying to escalate it. It's because this is about staying in power. The one thing that Sniffy Zelensky needs more than anything else, and this is above all the billions that he's taken in help, he needs to get out alive. He doesn't know how he's going to do that because some people want him to stay and keep the war going because they're making a lot of money, or they just want him to keep the war going because when the war's over, there are certain military units that want him Epsteined. So this is about how they stay in power now. Matthew William Armitage. Oh, first timer. Matthew, always pop everybody's cherry. That's the first timer. Finally, I found someone talking facts. I totally agree with you. Thank you, Matthew. Bit of showbiz. Depends how long your memory is. But just keep watching the Ukraine standoff, the Russian-Ukraine standoff. Putin wants the energy. Donald wants the underground gold, the minerals. And little Keir Starmer, oh, come on, lads, how are you, man? God, can I not make some stuff from Ukraine? I've got to go back home and tell the missus that I was really brave. I was really brave, and I got some minerals, not much, but I got some minerals for the British people. For the British people? Yeah. You got bugger all for the British people. I know, but don't tell them that. Can you tell Trump that, I'm sorry, he can have the minerals. I'm sorry. Can I just have a few bob for myself and my wife and my kids? So it's all going big tongue. Starmer wants his Thatcher moment. He does. Starmer wants the back alleys. Bless him. Stop it, Adrian. I can't imagine Starmer talking like that. He does, Stuart. Honestly, he does. When he's at home, he talks like that when he's talking to the media and to the world. One needs to, enunciate one's words, and one needs to use the Alexander technique to promote and push the vocal. And then when he goes home, the missus is like, "Oi, you twat! What you been doing to the English people? And by the way, we're Jewish. What are you mucking about with those Muslims for?" I've been laughing all day. All day. You know the story about Richard Gere and gerbils, don't you? The Pet Shop Boys. You know Richard Gere and the gerbils. Well, Richard Gere's announced that he's moving to Spain and he's vowed he won't be returning to America. Oh, stuff ya. I'm not getting any parts now. My wife's Spanish, so we're going to bugger off to... Yeah, they do, Andrew. But isn't Spain in Europe? So if he's taking his gerbil with him, did it have to go into quarantine? Is the national animal of Spain a gerbil? And Dickie Gere says, Dickie Gere, I've had some of that before. His wife's Spanish, and Dickie said he wants to live in her world for a few years. Well, the Spaniards, it's a bit hot in Spain. But I was told a story of right. You're gonna have to bear with me because it might be coded a bit. Hang on, Terry Woodford. It wasn't a gerbil. It was a guinea pig. Gear has an asshole like a Wellington boot opening. It would have to be. I mean, he could have gone down to Peru for a guinea pig because they love eating them. I mean, can you imagine? Ew, do you mind taking this out of my derriere and cooking it for me? Ellen DeGeneres still in England after fleeing Trumpy. Well, she was, Alan, and then she went back for some inexplicable reason. So I don't know whether she's come back across the Atlantic again. And oh, yes, don't ruin my illusions about Richard Gere, says Amalia. I used to think he was lush. Well, let me tell you the story, Amalia. Let me regale you with this story. This is not Richard Gere. It's not. But during the 80s, in Hollywood, there was a penchant for sticking... It was either gerbils or guinea pigs. But the size of guinea pigs, dear Lord... it would need some muscle relaxants to be able to. Let's just say it was a gerbil for comedy effect, and it wasn't Richard Gere. This is not Richard Gere. This is like the Pet Shop Boys in Hollywood, and so anyway, this guy goes into A&E in America, in California. And he's got sort of third-degree burns all around his groin and all the way around his derriere. And they rush him in and they deal with him. And the man that's with him's got a broken nose. I mean, literally, blood, snot, it's all over his face. So the emergency practitioners said, so what's happened? He said, oh, can we not just look after him, doctor? He said, well, the burns are pretty serious. He said, don't, it's not allegedly, Rich. This is a true story, I'm telling you. I'm just not naming anybody. And the doctor said, look, come into the side room. We'll look after your nose. It looks like it's broken. But can you tell me what happened? And he said, well, doctor, I don't really want to go into any great detail. And the doctor said, look, I've heard everything, literally. Don't, Dean, you're wrong. So the doctor said, look, I've seen everything. I've heard everything. There's nothing that's going to shock me. So the guy says, oh, okay. Are you going to be able to treat him? Are his burns treatable? He said, yes, of course. We'll be able to look after him and get it all sorted. So what exactly happened? He said, oh, well, our love life was a little boring. So we'd heard this thing where if you put a toilet roll up your derriere and you put a gerbil in, it kind of, mucks about with your prostate. And the doctor said, right, okay. That doesn't explain it, though. He said, well, what happened was we did all that and we made sure that he had a muscle relaxant, so it was fine. And well, we put the gerbil up and the gerbil wouldn't come out. The doctor says, the gerbil wouldn't come out. He said, yes. So my partner says, can you not see where it is? Can you not get your fingers or your hands in there and pull it out? Because obviously, I meant to say that before the gerbils went and did what they did, they had to take all their claws out because it's not a great idea to put something up there with loads of claws scratching around. So they used to pull all their claws out and then kind of bang them up there, teeth and everything, so nobody could get hurt. And so he said to the doctor, he said, so what we did was, gerbil went in, gerbil wouldn't come out. So my partner says, have we not got a torch or something? Can you see where it is? And he said, no, we haven't got a torch. I haven't got anything. This is pre sort of mobile phone days in the 80s. And he said, oh, just strike a match. So the one with the broken nose gets a box of matches, strikes a match, which ignites the methane up the derriere, sets his derriere alight and his nethers, and the gerbil is propelled straight out of his backside and smacks into this guy's face, breaking his nose. So they had to go to hospital to tell the doctor we were just mucking about, and he went wrong. We couldn't get him out, so I struck a match to see where he was. Boom! Out it was propelled smacked me nose, broke me nose, and my partner's derriere. True story. And I've had that story since the 80s. It's only Richard Gere deciding he was going to move to Spain with his missus. I've no idea why. I mean, they're not related or correlated or anything. It's got nothing to do with Richard Gere. No, nothing. But in the 80s, in Hollywood and California, Richard Pryor did this and burnt his ass while high. Did he really, Rich? English bottle cap. Should have used a Jack Russell. Can you imagine? The gerbil wouldn't come out after all the shit they put it through. Brilliant film. And man the sky, I'm sitting there creased. At least you haven't got a gerbil at home. And if you have, make sure it's locked up. And what's Terry said now? Angelic inspiration, stop laughing so hard. So the kind of final point I want to make tonight is poor Esther. This assisted dying bill, for want of a better term or description, she wanted it going through Parliament really quickly so she could stay here and have assisted dying. And I'm not laughing because she's got cancer, and I'm not laughing because she's in a terrible, terrible, terrible place. But I'm telling you, Bernard Braden will be laughing his cap off. And so the assisted dying bill is not going to go through Parliament. I think they're looking for an amendment, and that might delay it and actually might stop the bill. And poor Esther, she didn't have the miracle cure for cancer, and she's about to fall off her perch over the next few weeks. I wish her soul well. I wish it great speed, God's protection. But oh man, what she's done in this life. So my name's Adrian Allen. You may sit there and laugh your caps off. Yeah, wrong'uns. 2 hours with barely a script. Jesus, I thought I'd be lucky to do 10 minutes tonight. Hope you've enjoyed it. Hope you've had some bits and pieces that you wouldn't have known otherwise. Thank you to everyone that's said in the chat they're glad they found somebody who kind of tells the truth and tells it like it is. Please spread the word if you can. The more that come to these lives, the better. I'm up to some stuff this week which I won't tell you yet because I'd rather get it in the bag, but I've got something amazing that I'm going to be up to this week, and once I've recorded it, I'll let you know. Only when I've recorded it. Rich, thank you for being here as ever, and thank you for your kindness and support. Thank you to all the legendary Battenbergers that have supported the channel this evening. Really appreciated. Gerbil story is true. You're wrong. That's where the Pet Shop Boys name comes from. And Monica, Amanda Sky, thank you, Adrian. Great live tonight as always. Look after yourself. Be well. Stay safe. And on your way out, if you could smash the likes, you're wrong. It would be nice if we could get it over 200 before Wednesday. And look after yourself. My name's Adrian Allen. Thank you for your likes, your subscriptions, but most of all, your indulgence. Clean the bloody Battenberg and altar wine up. Somebody spilt some on Wednesday. Go, I had some explaining to do. And whatever you do, wherever you go, don't forget the Battenberg. See you Wednesday, 8 o'clock, as always. Be safe, be well. I'll see you soon.